Canada, only 2 games on the association tonight. They are back-to-back. TNT at 8 p.m. You see the Bucks and Pacers started up. Indy holding tight to the 3 spot. Giannis trying to take advantage of that and get them knocked up out of there. And then following that, you have the Thunder and the Blazers, 2 point guards who wear number 0 but play like heroes. We got game time coming now.
Gets it to James. LeBron takes it to the rim and finishes with the left, and he's fouled. The legend of LeBron continues. He moves past his idol, MJ, for 4th on the all-time scoring list.
Wanted to be like MJ. Wanted to shoot fadeaways like MJ. Wanted to stick my tongue out on dunks like MJ. Wanted to wear my sneakers like MJ. I wanted kids to look up to me at some point like MJ, and it's just it's crazy, to be honest.
That was LeBron James. You are now officially rocking with the best right now. Ro Paris along with Mr. Players Only, Dennis 3D Scott, and of course Kenny the Jet Smith. Number 1, we see LeBron pass Michael Jordan for the 4th spot in the all-time leading scoring list. Number 1, your reaction, 3D, I'll start with you. When you witnessed this happen last night, what were your thoughts?
First thing came to mind that LeBron James has been tricking us for 16 years. And the reason I say that because we've always looked at him as a pass-first guy, a team-oriented guy. I want to pass the ball, get everyone involved. Then you look up and like, wait a minute, how has he scored all these points if he's a pass-first kind of guy? Then I go back to when he scored 30,000 points. I said, LeBron, well, you cannot be a pass-first guy and score all these points. He goes, well, I call it attack mode. I said, oh, now we're getting somewhere. Well, you have to be in attack mode to score points, to come downhill a lot. So when you go back to high school, Kenny, that's all we know. LeBron's always come downhill. So eventually, like when he said at the end of the game, you're blowing people out. His elementary school coach told him to get his teammates involved. So he told that story how he got his teammate, rode the basketball down, and got his teammate involved. So that's why I always said, LeBron, you kind of tricked us a little bit because you've always known how to score and then get other people involved.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary accomplishment for a guy who doesn't particularly come into the league with scoring options. So when Michael Jordan came into the NBA, or Kobe came into the NBA, or Kareem comes into the NBA, you're like, well, this is the most devastating part of their offensive arsenal. When LeBron came into the NBA, we didn't know what that was, and I would argue say
till to this day, do you? Right.
So say, what's his signature thing? Like he pointed to, he said, I wanted to fade away like MJ. Okay, I wanted to Kareem. I wanted to skyhook like Kareem. Hey, I wanted to
no look like Magic.
But no, that's a pass. But on the offensive end, what will the next generation say they want to do like LeBron on the offensive end? There is nothing that you actually point to and say that's Tim Duncan. He's on that left block.
Right.
Hakeem Olajuwon, he's a dream shake. Like everyone had the offensive move, so it's amazing that a guy who doesn't have a signature offensive move is the 4th leading scorer in basketball.
It's amazing. And breaking news late this afternoon, Chris Haynes, Yahoo senior reporter, reports that, quote, LeBron James is going on a minutes restriction and could sit out. Could sit out for the next couple of games as the Lakers' playoff chances fade. So the timing of this, he passes Michael Jordan one night, and then all of a sudden the news comes out that he's going to start resting after this accomplishment has been made. You see this and you say,
it's twofold. I think overall the fan in me wants to see him play. The executive in me or coach in me would say, oh, sit him. I would have probably sat him last night as I watched the game against Denver Nuggets, when they made that comeback. So there's 2 sides of me. But as a fan, I think LeBron James, I wouldn't want him to sit the minutes that Anthony Davis is sitting. If we have a chance to win, I would like to see him on the floor. If we don't have a chance to win, then, okay, I can understand him sitting. We got down 16, 14 points. He's going to sit out. But if it's a 4-point game and 4 minutes left in the game, and you have the LeBron James weapon sitting on your bench, to me, that's a disservice to your fans. So in your minute restriction, you better figure out a way, at least I would figure out a way that I could play him in the last 5 minutes of the game if I needed to. So I wouldn't disappoint not only him, I think he's a competitor, and I wouldn't disappoint the fans because he's never been in this position before either. So I don't know if he is going to take this as much as he knows it's happening. I want to see how he takes it.
Just to put this in perspective, he's 34 years old. We all know how old he is. We know Father Time's undefeated. But just to put it in perspective, he's often compared to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. So just to put up their accomplishments, what they did during their season when they were 34 years old. Of course, LeBron, the most games he could possibly play this year would be
Mike was
64.
62 and 20.
But when you look at Mike, you look at Kobe, they were well accomplished. They made the playoffs. I mean, just talk about
At 34, Michael was the MVP in 62 and 20.
Finals MVP,
I didn't
all
even
defensive,
realize
played
that.
in all 82 games. Most of the season, Scotty didn't play. We can go into that discussion off air, but it just puts it in
that's
perspective. Seeing
Yeah, that's crazy.
at 34 years old, and of course LeBron, we know that he's played through 8 straight finals. You talk about Olympic basketball, but it just puts it in perspective, seeing how important or crazy Father Time is.
Putting everything in perspective, Kenny, who was one of the first guys to help us get for the love of the game clause in our contract?
Oh, Michael Jordan. Well, the other thing is, I don't think it's a Father Time issue with LeBron. I think it's a Father Time
Mileage.
team. His team doesn't have time.
Right.
They don't have any experience. I watched the game last night, and you look and you see Kuzma, you see Ball, you see Ingram sitting on the bench, and I'm watching the game with my son, and he's like, "What's his name?" I was like, "Caruso." It's like, "What's his name?" I was like, "Oh, that's a kid from Michigan State." It was who he played for.
Who he played for.
I was doing an episode of who he played for. So I think overall, you have so many guys. The best player on the floor last night was Williams from Gonzaga, and he hasn't played all year really. So to me, the inability to have players around you, he realizes, and we've been realizing, he probably realized earlier than us, that's why he went to Miami the first time, that wins championships. That gets you deep in the playoffs. Guys who are committed and have experience to be champions.
And before we get off this topic, what did you just think about the reaction? We saw previously when Kobe passed MJ in Minnesota, they stopped the game. There was a big, celebration. Not so much for LeBron. I mean, is it because
Cleveland?
The league said no.
The league did come down and say no, but you saw that.
Yeah, but I think either Cleveland. If it was Cleveland, the ovation would have forced it to be longer.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
I think
because he did most of that scoring there.
Well, most of it there, but then again, we're in LA, so the stage is set better to your question. But I think to Luke Walton, he answered that question at the end. They wanted to do more, but the league said no.
I agree.
Yeah.
But teammates weren't embracing. I mean,
No, but
I
I'm
saw
saying
some guys-
just he didn't get those 30,000 whatever points with most of those guys. So it wasn't like he's going to walk over to Kyrie Irving. He's going to walk over to Kevin Love, J.R. Smith. Those are the guys he battled with for 6 and 7 years. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit, they understand what those points meant. Different between getting points. And no, that was the one that sent me to the NBA Finals, Akeem, Shaq, LeBron. Like, that would be a different scenario. So, yes, they understood what the significance was, but they hadn't been part of it. So the Laker fans hadn't been part of it.
Yeah.
So there was no memory. When Kobe Bryant did his,
Every single point
came in those buildings, man.
It's just a little weird because that took place on the road and he was received better. But you know who's next on the list after Michael Jordan?
Kobe
Bryant. So
Yeah.
you'll be interested to see what happens if LeBron does pass Kobe. So as we move forward, the road ahead presented by Dodge, the Thunder, after going 11-1 in the early part of 2019, they lost their last 4 road games, all by at least 9 points. The next 3 away from OKC are all teams that are playoff bound. So looking at this schedule, seeing how OKC is playing, they're coming off that loss against Minnesota. Paul George missed a number of games, had the shoulder issue, but he's back. What are we looking at with OKC? Of course, they're jockeying for position. Number one, are they the biggest threat to the Warriors in the Western Conference?
Possibly, but I think you said it best. If Paul George is back playing, then I think they get back to their winning ways. And I think as much as we love Russ, and yes, he's a walking triple-double, it's great. But Paul George is reminding us of how good he is, and he and Kawhi Leonard are arguably the best two-way guys we have in our game, Kenny. So him missing those last couple games, you saw how the offense didn't flow, shot clock coming down situation. You couldn't swing to get it to a guy to go get you a bucket. And defensively, Russ can't guard everybody, and I think that was very glaring too. The defense slipped as much as it did with Paul George being injured.
I'm gonna change a gear.
Shift it up, Jet.
The biggest threat in the Western Conference, no one's saying it, but I'm gonna say it. The Portland Trailblazers.
Really?
Ooh, okay.
The Portland Trailblazers with the addition of Rodney Hood.
Cantor. You like those additions?
Okay.
So
They are the biggest threat to me in the Western Conference right now.
We take a look at the standings right now. They sit in the 5 seed. So you say they're the biggest threat.
Really
so
4.
If the
really
playoffs-
3.
if-
They're all got the same record. They're all 39-25.
Well, of course, we talk about tiebreakers. So if you play this out today, if the playoffs start today, the Blazers would have to win on the road, going to OKC.
They're not going to be on the road when this ends.
But I'm just saying.
I'm just letting you know. They will not.
Uncle's told us if was it Phil, we all be drunk. So
Well,
you
no
saying
doubt. No doubt.
If, let's get to the end of the season, and then we'll say that.
And
but
if
right
my
now,
aunt have, I'm going to leave that one alone. But I'm going to tell you this. The biggest threat, because they now have 2 guys who can play in the 2-point range and play at a high level. So Rodney Hood and Cantor can play in the 2-point range and play at the same efficiency as you can play at the 3. So typically, if you shoot 40% from 3, you get 12 points. Well, these guys can shoot 6 for 10 in the box and in the 2-point area. So they can match you with their play. To me,
interesting.
They are one of the second deepest team, and Toronto Raptors in the East. Those are my 2 teams. I'm like, we might see Toronto and Portland in the NBA Finals.
Whoa, hot take right there by Kenny the
just
Jet
letting you
Smith.
know.
Hey, mark it down. The
It's a
Portland
possibility.
Trailblazers are the biggest threat in the Western Conference outside of Golden State. Or you're saying they're
no, two Golden State.
Okay, just making sure. I wanna
2
make sure we're
Golden
clear.
State. The biggest threat is them.
3D, you got any hot takes you want to share with America?
No, I already gave Mike. OKC. OKC is mine.
I didn't know it was a hot take. It's just something I'm watching the games, and I'm like,
no, you're
man.
one of few people that are putting Portland out there because of that move. You just hit it right on the hip because Dame Lillard and C.J. McCollum do so much offensively.
All from the 3, too.
So now in the
3 area.
second unit, you can say, okay, guys, go get me easy bucket. And we always talk about Cantor not being a big defender. Well, you got to stop him, too, down low. Not too many guys can stop him.
Who
That's
defends
why
in the post?
Exactly.
Who posts up?
He was getting double teamed in New York before he got let go.
My point is, who in the Western Conference, besides maybe DeMarcus Cousins, on the block you have to double team? None.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about Cantor playing defense one-on-one with guys. You just have to say, hey, rebound, run the floor, post up.
Yeah.
Defend. That's it. You don't have to defend anyone other than DeMarcus Cousins on a consistent basis and double team him in the block.
Interesting to say that. I like that. I'm going to pay attention to Portland now just because of you. Because usually we see
You say
Portland-
that 6, I look at him and go, oh, they're 3.
Well,
I forget tiebreaker. I'm like, week 39-25. That's if I'm on the Portland, I'm like, I'm 3. Because all I have to do is continue to win. Anytime they lose, I move up. That's it. So I'm 3.
Okay.
39-25.
I think we need to, I know we wear glasses. We need to get our vision checked because we don't see the numbers the same.
No, you look
way.
at tiebreakers and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo,
No,
we're
I
3.
understand exactly what he's saying.
And they're
because
5, matter of fact.
Just 2 days ago.
They're not 6.
Just 2 days ago, the Rockets were where the Blazers are. So I get what Kenny's saying.
Yeah, they're 5 right now, and I'm saying we're 3.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And you
well
go to the
taken.
Thunder. Oh, and you got Cantor going against the Thunder. Oh, I like that.
Little revenge there.
I like that, man. I like Hood.
Okay.
Hood, who's got a new life a lease on life. A guy who's been given up on.
Feeling good.
Yeah, he's been given up on so much, man, and he's been a great player in this league.
Before the injury, OKC was 3.
That is true. Well, check this out. Superman is in the building. We're hitting the hardwood next on Game Time. The one and only Shaquille O'Neal will be in the building because we've got something special we're going to do on the court. Now, he's crowned Giannis the new Superman.
Oh!
We're going to take this to the court for an encore demo to show you how it's done. Jet, you ready?
How what's done? How Duncan is done?
Stop.
Oh, I'm like,